Hi, and welcome to the second part of our patient communications walkthrough. This is going to go over setting up templates, scheduling, and customizations. We'll be going over how to access the portal, creating new email and text message templates, editing existing templates, linking your office phone number so that it'll appear in the caller ID, scheduling the message templates that you've just created, as well as adding users and changing settings. As staff, you're going to have two different ways that you can access it. If you wish, you can go to the site below, my.mveportal.com, followed by your account number. This will prompt you to a login page where you can use your employee username and password to log in to the portal. Additionally, you're able to log in directly from MyVision Express just by logging into the program. To do this, you need to go to File, Setup, and to the Communications button. And last but not least, we can access the portal again as a website from Tools to Web Links down to Portal. Going here will open another instance of the website where you can enter your username and password as an employee and log into MyVision Express to view the portal here. Once we've accessed the portal, the first thing we're going to want to do is use the buttons on the left-hand side and select our message templates. This is going to show us what is able to be sent out to our patients. Initially, when you first access the portal, you are going to see a list of pre-populated and pre-entered information. These are different types of messages that you can send out to your patients. Using the filters on the right-hand side, we can identify specifically if we want to edit emails or text messages. Doing so will allow you to see that any message that you have for that selection is going to show up in an alphabetical order. If you want to see all of them, select all. Additionally, you can select by the type of template. These are hard-coded options that we are not able to edit or change. These are determining what kind of messages we are sending out to our patients. For example, if I want to only look at my birthday messages that I'm sending out to my patients, I can use this drop-down menu, select birthday, and if I want to filter this out even further, I can go ahead and select the text option, and I can see only the text message birthday notes that I have to edit. So we'll go ahead and reset our filter. I'm going to do so by using the drop-down menu and selecting all, and I'll do the same for the methods. Once we know what kind of message we want to edit, we are going to do so and see the options for it by using the language. You're not going to be able to click on the name itself. So when I select the language, it's going to open up that particular template. So to begin, you have the name that we chose. You can go ahead and update this if you wish. You also have the ability to add a subject line. This will allow you to say what the subject is going to be when this email goes out. For example, since we have an advance appointment reminder here, we can go ahead and say something like, this is your appointment reminder for this company, or this office, or this doctor. Additionally, we can select layouts. We're going to play with this a little bit later so you can see all the different options that it entails. Directly underneath those options, you're going to see a series of buttons that are in blue. These buttons in blue are considered merge fields that deal directly with the patient's information or other information directly from MyVision Express. This way, you don't need to specify every single patient in this email, and it will do it automatically for you. When you're looking at the templates, you can identify anything that has been selected as such by words that are in brackets. So for example, if I didn't in fact want to use the greeting "Dear patient title" and followed by his last name, I can remove these options. And I can use the merge field for his first or full or last name. In this case, we'll go ahead and use his full name. And that would be all you need to do. Additionally, there are many options for these. Depending on the type of message that you are sending out, you will see a different list of buttons. Some of them will be more mandatory for other portions, others will not be necessary, and therefore they are not going to be in there. You do have additional options besides just adding those merge fields. For example, continuing on with this example that we are in a advanced appointment reminder, if we wanted to add buttons to either confirm or cancel the appointment, what I would do is I would first create some space so I can add this button and it's not crowded by other options. Make some space. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use the button that says Appointment Confirmation. When I use the appointment confirmation or cancellation, it's going to give me a few options that I can then edit. First, I'm going to need to say the text. This is going to be what is entered in the button itself, what the patient's going to be reading when they see this. Additionally, if you wanted to, you can go ahead and select colors for this as well. All the button text is going to automatically default to white. If you wish to change it, you can use the color bar or slider on this side over here. And then you can pick a particular option of your choosing by clicking and dragging. And the same can be done for the button color as well. For this example, let's go ahead and select a green. And to get rid of this color window, all I need to do is click anywhere outside of that box. Last but not least, once I have all my options selected for the button, I'm going to want to put my cursor exactly where I want this button to go. This way the system reads and understands that this is where it should go, otherwise it will default to the very beginning of the message. Once I'm done, I hit OK. And to repeat this for the appointment canceled, I'm going to go ahead and make some more space in here and use that button correspondingly. And the same options apply. I can change the color of the text or the color of the button itself. Again, I put my cursor where I want it to go, and I hit OK. In addition to the merge fields, you do have other options that you can go ahead and edit on this portion of the system. Over here we have our merge fields that are related to the social media sites that we set up in the first video. If you did add any social media links, this is going to correspond directly with those sites and the options. So all you need to do is select where you want that to go in the letter. So we can make some space, and we can add as many as we wish, and then we are done. Make sure you double check the merge fields. There are some additional options in here that you may not see specific buttons for. For example, Yelp, review pages, so on and so forth. Directly above the message that we're editing, you have a toolbar, very similar to any word processing program. Some notable items here would be, for example, if we wanted to add our own images. This could be a logo or any other picture of our choosing. So what you would want to do is rather delete or select where you want this picture to go. And when I use the images button, it's going to give me a few options. I can rather select the link from a website, and all I'll need to do is check the box and then type in or copy and paste the URL for the website image. Another option, if you had this from a file that you have on your computer, you can use the button for upload and then select the file using the File Explorer on your computer. Once you've done either option, all you would need to do is hit OK, and your picture will then be imported into the system. If you wish, you do have some additional options as well. You can add text for that picture. You can change the width and height, as well as set the alignment as far as the space from either left or right. Additionally, in My Vision Express, we also give you the ability to add a map link into this email. Doing so will show an image with the exact location on a Google Maps page of where the office is located. In order to do this, all we would need to do is use this icon labeled for Google Maps. When you select this, it's going to ask if you wish to edit the location address. It would be highly recommended that you do not change this. First, this is going to be linked directly with the company information that you've entered in the company profile of your system. So whatever you have there is going to automatically link in this portion. Additionally, if you have multiple locations, there are portions later on that we'll be discussing where you can identify which locations this can be sent out from. This way, it will pull from whatever location is being sent from to that patient, and it will automatically fill in either one or the other location or more, depending on how many locations you have. You can then decide what zoom level you wish to have. If you want to change the width and height, and what type of map you wish to show, the road map, the satellite, the hybrid, or the terrain. Once you've made these selections, all you need to do is hit OK. Now at this level, since we are editing this information, it is not going to show us the specific link on the map, simply because, again, we are editing it and it is not linking to any one particular location at this point. Now, once we've made our options or we've changed anything that we need, we can now take a look and we can preview what we have done so far. Once you're in the preview, it's going to show you exactly what you've done, how it's going to show up for the patient, and it'll enter some of the basic examples for what you've entered. For example, we have our patient's full names. We have Mr. John Doe, some other merged fields where the date and time of the appointment, company phone number, company name, so on and so forth, as well as the buttons, the map, and the social media links as well. Now, this is all fine and will be sent out to the patient exactly as you wish. However, there are some additional options. If you go back, you can add and even edit layouts in the system. What these are going to do is these are going to add an additional layer to the emails that you're sending out. Now keep in mind, the layouts are an additional part of this. So that means that even if you've edited a template, you can use this layout for multiple templates. You're going to be able to choose this for any email that you are sending out. What the layout adds is a border, a little bit of art as well to it. It's going to add the company information. This way you don't need to manually add it to every single message. Additionally, there's a place that we can manually put in our logo. This is not going to pull automatically from My Vision Express. If you wish your logo to appear in this portion, you will have to go in, and in a moment we'll see how we can edit these layouts to have this show up for you. Directly under the company information, you do have some basic of the social media links. So that means if you wish to have those appear in every message, you can add it to the layout once instead of every single email every single time. Additionally, below, you have a small disclaimer that you can edit, as well as an unsubscribe button if any patients wish to not see these anymore. If they do select this unsubscribe option, this will automatically deselect any emails in their communications portion of the profile, meaning they will not receive any further emails unless they specify to somebody at the office or re-register. If I wish to use a layout, I can go ahead and select. There are different options. Initially, the biggest difference between them is going to be the color. Once you are done, you can go ahead and save this letter. Once you're back on the message template selection window, we can go ahead and edit some of those layouts that we just saw. The fastest way to get there is by using our filter and selecting the layout option. This is going to show all the different layouts that we had to select from. So all that we would need to do is choose which one we're going to edit, and in the same fashion, we are going to go ahead and select the language. Notice that we have a new list of merge fields, and we're going to have the same type of options across the board. We're going to have the same toolbar, the same different types of media links, of which you can still add the other review pages as well. So here we have our logo. So learning what we just saw a moment ago, if I wanted to change this, I can first select it just by clicking on it and then using the backspace key to remove it. Once I've done that, I can use my image to then select which logo I would want to put into the system. Or if I do not have one, feel free to leave that blank, but it is definitely recommended that we do not leave that original option that says your logo here. And down at the bottom of this, you do have the waiver disclaimer that we saw before, so please be sure to read through this and edit it when necessary. And of course, once we're done, go back up top and select Save. And in a similar fashion to the way we were editing emails, we can go ahead and select options for text messages as well. Again, keep in mind as you're editing these and seeing the options, always remember these are text messages that will be sent out to patients. So keep that in mind and try to keep the information as straightforward and minimal as possible. This way, it will be restricted to a single message and it will not overflow to multiple messages for them. When doing so, it will show a character remaining option. So you can still choose specific merge fields if you wish. Again, these are going to be much more limited to what you can see in an email. As such, when they receive the text message, they will have the option to pretty much unsubscribe in a similar fashion to they can with the emails too. Once you've updated any of the information, we do the same thing as before by going to the top of the window and selecting Save. Now, let's say that we have seen all of our template options and there's still something new that we want to create ourselves. So if we wish to start from the ground up, we can go ahead and select the option for New. And this is going to give you a rundown of the different choices you can make. First, we're going to identify, is this an email or a text? Second, from the hard-coded options, what kind of message are we going to be sending out? And last but not least, the language that you wish it to be changed into. Now I say changed into because you do have the option of selecting it in English and it will automatically be translated using Google Translate. So even if you don't know the language, you can edit it and it will send out in that language of your selection. Once you've made your choices, go ahead and hit OK. Then you have the same tools at your disposal as we did before when we were editing an existing layout. All you need to do is just simply select what you want, and you can start from scratch, typing in all the information. Don't forget, as you are starting from bare bones options here, that you want to make sure that you add your own name, something easy to remember that you can identify. So with what you've just seen, you're going to be able to edit or create all of your messages. So be sure to identify which ones you want to use and edit them accordingly. Whatever options you've made on one, make sure that you save it. And then later on, we're going to see how we can put that into use and when it's going to be going out to the patients. Before we do that, though, we're going to want to set up our caller ID. Now remember, there are 3 different ways that we can send out messages to our patients. We can use emails, text messages, or we can also use phone calls. The phone calls are automated and there are no templates to set up for those. All we would need to do is decide in the schedule when we want them to go out. But in order for that to happen, we need to first link the caller ID so that it's not coming from a random number. And when the dialer calls out your patients, it will show up that it's coming from the office and will not be using a phone line from the office in the process. When you select the caller ID option under the communications portion, it's going to show you a list of your location or locations. What you're going to want to do is make sure that we can verify that specific phone number. Before we do this, definitely confirm that the phone number is correct. If not, we will need to go into configuration and locations. If the phone number is not correct, you can select the location from this list and down here we can edit or delete the phone numbers that we have or add new ones. Once we've confirmed that the phone number is correct, we're going to need to make sure that we can verify this information. To do so, we're going to start by using this verify button on the right-hand side. So this is going to bring up an option where what's going to happen is it's going to first enter that phone number into the system. And reading what we have here, once you hit start verification, 2 things are going to happen. First, you're going to get a call at the office at that phone number that we've specified here. Once we hit start verification, after the call has been made, the window here is going to change. And instead of what we see now, we are going to see an option that shows a 6-digit PIN. Once you receive the phone call, it's going to prompt you to enter the information. At that point, you are going to enter this code, and this window will then change and say phone has been verified. Once it does that, it will then enter that information in here as well. Make sure that you do that and you have the verified phone number, and the information here under verified caller ID is entered. Once we have our caller ID looking the way that we want, we now need to go ahead and put all of these templates and select the calls that we wish to send out to our patients. This is going to be done in the schedule option under the communications portion on the left-hand side. When you initially get to this portion, you may see some pre-populated options. It's not going to make a difference so long as they are all set to inactive. What you want to do is start from scratch in most cases. To do this, we are going to select New. There is an order of operations that is preferred when working on this section. The very first thing that we should work on is selecting the type of message. When I select the ellipsis button to the right of the wording, it's going to give me the list of options that are available. This is the same list of the hard-coded selections that you've seen previously in this portion of the system. So first, we want to determine exactly what we are going to be working on. In addition, we're also able to see some more information. Directly next to the name, we can see exactly what kind of messages we can send out using this part of the software. For example, an appointment canceled, you can send out either an email or a text message to the patient. An appointment reminder with confirmation can use an email, text, or you can send a call to the patients. In this case, let's go ahead and select our appointment reminder with confirmation. Once you have that chosen, your next process is going to be selecting the method. We're going to need to determine, is this an email, a text message, or is this going to be a call going out to the patients? Notice that when I've selected the voice method, it is not going to allow me to select a template. That's only going to be chosen when we've used an email or a text message. Of course, the reason being, very much like we said before, you are not setting up any voice messages. There are no voice templates that you create yourself. So all you would need to do to send a call out to a patient is simply select the voice method. If you are using an email or a text message, your next step will then be to select the specific template that you're going to be sending. To do this, we're going to do something similar to what we did with the type. We're going to choose this ellipsis button. Now, when you do this, you will more than likely see multiple options for this. If you want to see a quick preview of the selections, select this little spyglass icon to the right of the wording. We'll go ahead and select this appointment confirmation here. And even after you've selected it, you're still going to see another preview, just as a reminder that this is what's going to go out to the patient. Now, once we have that set up, the next options that we can look at are determining if we are going to allow a cancellation. Now, of course, this may not be a selection that's available for every single type of message that we are sending out. Because this is a reminder, this will be an option that's available. If we want to go ahead and give that as an option, we're going to go ahead and use the selection here to make sure that it's a check mark, not the X. Next, you're going to be able to determine exactly when, prior to the appointment, this is going to be able to go out. So for example, let's say I want this to go out 1 month, 2 weeks, and then 1 hour prior to the appointment. So I'm going to first start at my farthest distance away from the current time. So I'm going to say 1, and then I'm going to use the drop-down menu in the next field to select months. And I'm going to make sure that the final box is saying before. If I wish to add additional times for this to go out to the patient, I can just select the Add New button. It's going to give me another line that I can then set my times for. So I have 1 month. I will then do another one for 2 weeks. And I will do a third and final one for 1 hour prior. Now, once I've done this, there is something specific that happens with appointment reminders. With or without confirmations, either way, any reminder that you send out to the patient is going to work in this following fashion. What's going to happen is they are going to receive all the message that we've scheduled here. So they will receive this email 1 month, 2 weeks, and then 1 hour before the appointment. However, let's say at 1 month they get the email and they decide to not confirm nor cancel the appointment. They've received the email, they read it, but they haven't made a selection. At 2 weeks, they will receive the same email again. However, this time, the patient decided to confirm that appointment. A few things are going to happen at that point. First, in the calendar, where this appointment is scheduled, this is going to set that appointment as confirmed. That will be done automatically for you. That way, when you're checking that day, you can already see that the patient has confirmed prior. Now, additionally, it will also recognize that the patient has already received the email and has confirmed. Now, if he has confirmed or canceled, again, it will show up on the calendar, but it will also not send out any further messages for this appointment. This way, they are not constantly bombarded with messages as they've already replied what their response is going to be. Now, in addition to setting up the times, if you have multiple locations, this final box down here is going to give you the options to rather A, you can leave this box blank, which it does say here, leave empty to apply to all locations, or you can specify one or more of the offices that you wish this to be sent with. So remember, if we are going to be using this with a universal fashion for all of our offices, leave it blank. If you had done something specific in the template that is identifying one office from another, then you can go ahead and specify, or if there's any other reasoning behind choosing one specific or other specific offices. In this case, we want to go to every single location, so we're going to leave that field blank. Once you get done, you can go ahead and save the choice here. Now, before you go live, it is highly recommended that prior to sending all of these out, you would initially want to make them inactive. This way, if there are any changes that you need to make last minute, you can make sure that you've already begun to set the template up and you can schedule when it's going to go through. But this way you can see everything together and determine maybe there are different times that I want to use. Maybe there was a different template that I wanted to select for this, whatever the case may be. This way, by making it inactive now, you can activate them all at the same time and go live with everything all at once instead of one by one by one. When it is inactive on the schedule list, you will see that that specifically has a red box below the name specifying that it is inactive. That was just one option of what we've done so far. There are lots of different types of messages that you can send out, and you can set multiple versions of these as well. So to go through some of the other ones, we do have once they've confirmed the appointment, which will be sent out immediately. When the appointment has been created, same concept. This will go immediately after it has been created. If they've missed an appointment, this is the first that we're going to see that has a specific trigger with it. So these are options that you can choose directly on the MyVision Express calendar for the status of the appointment. So let's say, for example, we say that they missed the appointment. So when we set this as the status for that appointment in the calendar, it will then send out a message based on how far after we set this. So if we say, for example, 1 hour after, that'll give them some time to call the office and rather understand that they've missed the appointment, or if you need to reach out to them for any reason, again, same concept. So it'll give you a little bit of time. Additionally, we've already seen the appointment reminder with confirmation. Now, the difference between with confirmation and without is basically how the template looks. Now, additionally, the with confirmation does give you the ability to send a call, whereas if it does not have a confirmation, that can only be sent out via email or text. Birthdays, again, based on the patient's birthday, this will send out a message as well. You can choose rather how far before their birthday, after, or if you want it to be immediately that same day. If you want to send a reminder for when they need to reorder their contacts, again, based on the schedule and which contacts they've purchased from you at the office and what you've set up in MyVision Express, this will give you the ability to schedule something to go out. Additionally, once they've picked up their eyewear, you're able to send out a reminder for this as well. Now, eyewear ready. This works much differently than most other options that we've seen or will see in the system. This has two specific triggers that we're able to set up. Now, these two triggers are going to be based on what you have in the order status. So when I use the drop-down menu, it's only going to show me what I have as order statuses for your system. So what you're going to want to do is basically, as far as what the staff is going to need to know, they're only going to be setting up this first specific trigger. So here's the flow of what's going to happen. So the patient comes in, they make their order, then the order goes out to the lab. When the order comes back, that's when this is going to come into play. So you now have the items that are going to be going to the patient. That means that they're ready to be picked up by the patient. That's what this message is going to be for. So what we need to do is first set the initial trigger. So once we've received the items, we need to let the patient know. So we have rather received from lab, received order. Again, based on your system and what was set up, you may have a different look for your order statuses. So you want to try to find the best option. In this case, we will select received from lab. As far as what the staff is going to need to do, that will initially be it. Just so long as they select the correct trigger, that'll be fine. What's going to happen next is once the trigger is activated, meaning this first one, it will then send this message out based on the timing that we have here. So we will say 1 hour after. You also have the ability to set it up for immediate. So once this trigger has been activated and this order has been set to this particular status, the email will then immediately, email, text, or call will then immediately go out to the patient. Now, this final selection here under the initial trigger, after the email goes out, or after the message goes out, you're then going to be able to determine what the status is, because at this point, they don't need to know. We already know that they have been notified. So that's what's going to happen. It will then change the status for you automatically. So if you come back in a few minutes after the initial trigger has been activated, you will notice that the order status has been changed to whatever you select in this bottom field. So to recap very quickly, the order is ready to be picked up by the patient. That means that we need to set this first trigger in the order itself. Once we do this, the email or message will go out immediately to the patient, and then the status of the order will be changed automatically for us. Additionally, if you want to send it out multiple times, you can as well. So let's say immediately and then 1 hour after as well. After that, you can set up recall reminders too. Now, these are going to be based on the recalls that you're able to set or that have been set automatically for you directly in the patient's profile. So if you notice, there are going to be two options here. So you can have it based on just one of the recall dates or the second one or both if you wish. From there, you say how far out you want it to be scheduled. And then, like always, you save. And last but not least, you have your thank you notes. Very similar option here with the thank you notes where you set the schedule. In this case, this will be how far after they've been seen, and then you make sure that you save. Once you get done setting up your schedules, make sure that you've taken a look at all the options, make sure that you've seen all the ones that you're going to be using, and you can delete any extraneous ones by making sure that you check the box and then hit the delete selected option on the top of the window. It will say that it's deleting all items. That simply means all that are checked off. And once you have the schedules the way that you want, you can filter which ones you want to see very similar to how we can filter out through the message templates portion. Let's say I want to see all my reminders with confirmation, but I only want to see the ones that I have set as active. Additionally, I can take it even a step further and say I only want to see the appointment reminders with confirmation that are active, that are phone calls. And there we go. And that completes what needs to be done to set up the patient communications in My Vision Express. Those three portions there that are comprised of the message templates, the caller ID, and the schedule. Everything that you need to set up is going to revolve around those options. However, that's not all that we can do with this portion of the software. When you initially had this activated, it was only activated for a single person, whoever was logged in at the time. Now, if you want additional employees or staff to use this or access it in order to rather confirm changes that have been made or edit anything that you've done, we're going to need to go down to security and then users. Once this opens up, it's going to show you the list of employees for your office. At that point, you can see who the owner is or anybody else that has any specific user settings. If you want to give somebody access to set up My Vision Express and the patient communications module, you're going to select that person. Then you're going to go to the third tab, the Roles tab. Initially, they're not going to have anything set up. When you get to this point, you're going to have a choice to make, because initially, when you select to add a role to a person, you're only going to have the one option for administrator. Now, this is fine, but remember that this will give them full access to the portal. So if you wish that to be okay and you want them to assist with setting anything up or double check what you've set up, all you need to do is select that role. Once you make sure that they've been selected, go ahead and hit save. Now, if that was not the choice that you wanted, if you want to restrict what they're able to see on the portal here when they're setting up the communications, we can create a new role by going back to security and then to the second option, roles. Here we're going to see the list of options that you would be able to choose. Initially, of course, we only have administrators. So when we select new, it's going to give us a few options. So this is going to allow you to add a new role in addition to the administrative options that you have. So what we can do is start by labeling our test role. If you wish to add any notes about this, about who should be having this, or why we'd be setting this up for somebody. But once you get under that, it's going to show you what specifically they're going to be able to access. So for example, if you have multiple accounts, I can rather say I only want them to see information about the accounts. I do not want them to update or delete any options in there. If that's true, I would only need to select this option. If I wanted all three buttons to be selected, I can use this top one on the blue bar. That'll select everything under it between that one and the next blue bar. If you want them to do any settings with certificates, mainly allowing them to get, update, create, or delete. When it comes to the HL7 CDA, they can rather create it, retrieve it, update, or delete it. With the locations, they can rather get information about it, create additional locations, update information about the location, which includes address, phone number, so on, or they can delete information about it as well. This right here would be the most closely related to what we've seen today. This is going to be the patient communication options. So a lot of these are going to be based on rather templates about the history of communications with patients or setting up the schedules. Additionally, they can gather information about the patients as well. They can change role settings like we're doing right now. They can see options for the secure messages in the portal. They can create additional users, i.e. additional staff members in the system, or check information about appointments made online. After that, we can take a look at any direct messaging options that they can rather see or delete. Additionally, you have the options to create and set up forms in here, so if you want them to have access to that, they can do so. Secure messaging, and to synchronize any files. Once you've made any selections that you feel are necessary for them, we're going to go back up to the top of the page by rather scrolling or using this icon in the bottom right, and we're going to save. Now, if I wanted to, I can go back to my list of users. I can select somebody. Now when I go to my Roles tab, if I try to add one, I'm going to have two options now. I'm going to have administrators and our test role. Once I've made that selection, all I need to do is save. And thus concludes setting up the message templates, setting up the caller ID, the schedule, and other customizations that you can do in MyVision Express's patient communications module. Thank you for watching this portion of our patient communications walkthrough. If you have any further questions or need any clarification, please be sure to visit our support team by rather reaching out via the website, sending an email, or giving them a call at the information listed here. Thank you so much and have a great day.